Well, if you were raised in Louisiana, you were likely raised near alligators. Almost every parish has alligators in them, and we have the most of any state.
Yep, take that, Florida. This week, TWILA's Neil Melancon tells us about a new website that is showing residents old and new how to cohabitate with this iconic animal.
When we think of dinosaurs, it's easy to forget we still live with them. Alligators are an iconic symbol of Louisiana, but this apex predator can stoke fear in many people. Despite their fearsome appearance, Louisiana has had 0 fatalities in the last 100 years, despite leading the nation in alligator population.
It's not a silly thing for you to need to say it to them, because they quite simply may not be aware that there's alligators there. Because if they haven't seen one before, they just assume they're not there. But that may not be the case.
In fact, Florida has less than half the alligator population Louisiana has, but leads the nation in fatalities from alligators in the last century. In second place, South Carolina. Despite having 100,000 alligators, they've had 3 fatalities in the last 100 years.
Where you get into issues is we got urban environments next to alligator habitat, and in places like South Carolina in their coastal zone.
That's why the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries has partnered with the states where alligators can be found to start GatorWise to help share the information most of us already know. Believe it or not, there's 11 states across the country where alligators can be found. Linscomb says now there's a new GatorWise website to help give tips on staying safe.
A perfect example of a primary one is don't feed alligators. It's irresponsible to feed alligators, and it causes them to be habituated to human presence and also associate humans with a handout. If you feed an alligator, they just naturally, when they see a human, no matter if that was the human that fed them, they just assume they're going to get fed.
Learning to live with alligators is important. In addition to being a sign of a healthy ecosystem, alligators provide a $100 million boost to the state's economy in skins and meat, and at the same time hit conservation goals.
We have had a decade of really, really high nest production, which is our index for the population. But in the past 3 years, that nesting is come back down to what our long-term average is, like our 20-year average. And that really is indicative not just of the population, but of the habitat conditions.
And while we've got a spotless record for fatalities in the state, it's still a good idea to check the website for tips, especially to educate children and for keeping pets safe around the water.
The first thing you need to do is to protect pets and people. Okay, the first thing you should do is get away from the alligator. It's that simple. And obviously you know to get away from an alligator, but a child might not know, a pet might not know, children might not know. So bring everyone in and then immediately call Wildlife and Fisheries.
Louisiana is a success story in terms of both wildlife rehabilitation and safety. That should put a toothy grin on everyone's face. For This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Neil Melancon.
The GatorWise program can be found at GatorWise.org and has family-friendly tips to keep children and pets safe as well. We'll link you over on our website at TWILATV.org.